And here we go. We have liftoff.
Propulsion continues to be nominal.
RCPA chamber pressure looks good.
Rolling up. Roger, Atlantis.
Water towers, fly! Yes!
Tango down to nominal.
Flight downside SPD off. Bring in SPD off. Off. It's orange!
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Decollage.
What is it?
Put that in the big bag, Eagle.
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed.
We rise together, back to the moon and beyond.
This methane would be igniting in the flare, correct?
Yikes. You dead? Sure. We don't need any more of these.
Welcome to another NASA Spaceflight live stream. I'm Jack Beyer for NSF, and you are looking at Falcon 9, sitting on the pad at Slick 40 in Cape Canaveral, Florida. We are going for a second attempt at launching Starlink 515 tonight. I was going to say today, but it's tonight now. I think that's safe to say, with it being just after midnight local time. So yes, this will be the second attempt at this launch, and as usual, we are doing our standard NSF livestream thing, where if you have any questions, just type them in chat at NASASpaceflight, and we'll see the questions pop up in some software Michael wrote. I see the 5x5s in chat. Thank you all for that. So I know you are coming, or I am coming through nice and loud and clear. Joining me on tonight's stream is, of course, as always, Miss Julia Bergeron, our excellent fleet expert out there on the Space Coast. Julia, how are you doing?
I am doing wonderful, Jack. Did you say, is it? It is still, well, it's evening here, but it's not the next day yet. I mean,
Right. That's not how time zones work, huh?
no, not exactly. But I will tell you, and maybe Max will agree, it is not as moist out today. It's actually almost an enjoyable evening here on the Space Coast. So, hi everyone, and I'm in Titusville tonight.
Excellent. All right. Well, we hope you have a good view from Titusville. Also joining us on tonight's stream, out in the field, operating the NSF camera, or one of the NSF cameras for tonight's launch, is the incredible Max Evans. Max, how are you doing tonight?
Hey, good evening, everyone. I'm doing well. Julia was saying tonight feels a bit more enjoyable than our last attempt, but I would disagree because while there is only a slight breeze, that means the bugs are out in force tonight, and I have to wear a sweatshirt when it's 80 plus degrees and super humid. So I'm a little bit uncomfy, but I'll deal with it.
Yikes. But yeah, I feel what you're saying. Surprisingly, here in Starbase, there have been very few mosquitoes. I think because it's just been so dang hot. And then tonight, a single solitary little baby mosquito came and landed on my arm. And I was like, oh, how cute. And then I killed it. But hang in there, Max. I hope you're not sweating too much tonight. And of course, in the studio on commentary, we have the incorrigible Sawyer Rosenstein. Sawyer, how are you doing tonight?
Incorrigible. Ooh, that's a new one. I like that. I'm doing great. It is a great night for a launch, and maybe a pun or two. I don't know. We'll see.
How many tokens do you have?
Too many to count, so all of them.
All right, well, we are about 34 minutes away from launch tonight, and we will answer all of your questions and talk about everything special about this mission in particular. Again, if you have any questions, at NASASpaceflight in chat, and type out your question, and we will see it in some nifty software that our former colleague, Michael, wrote. We miss you, Michael. All right, let's do some questions. If anybody sees any questions that jump out at them, go for it. While we wait to get to questions, or just before we do, I am going to run through some super chats here. So Eric Payne, thank you for becoming a PadRat member. Musical Wolves, thank you for the super chat there. They say, does SpaceX require a certain number of likes for their stream? And if it doesn't happen, an abort is called? What was the reason for the abort on Thursday? Did we get any word as to what the deal with that was?
No, sir. We didn't hear anything locally either. Judging by the fact that they needed a static fire, which is rare, right?
Right.
Probably my guess would be engine related, and in this case, something kind of unique. They didn't roll back and roll back out to take the payload off because it's a Starlink. So that's another rarity that happened with this scrub, though. But no, we didn't hear anything official as to why there was a scrub. The rocket wasn't happy. The rocket is a veteran. Sometimes they get cranky.
Alrighty then. Indeed, this rocket is a veteran. Sawyer, do you want to tell us a little bit more about the first stage of this Falcon 9? What is it, B1060? Sawyer?
Yeah, this is booster B1060, as you mentioned, and this will hopefully tie for the most number of flights by a single booster at 16, just recently set a few days ago by the previous booster. So, all right, let's get my breath together. It has been on GPS-3 SV03, Turksat 5A, Transporter 2, words, and then Galaxy 33 and 34, Transporter 6, and all of the rest different Starlink missions going all the way back to 2020.
Holy cow.
Moo.
Wow. Julia, this booster is landing downrange, right? What drone ship is it going to?
Well, it is going to A Shortfall Of Gravitas, which is actually 640 kilometers downrange. Another fun fact about this booster, as well as 1058, which was the first one to go 16 missions, is they have both landed on all three drone ships as well as LZ-1. And 1060 is unique to the Space Coast, so it is only flown from here.
Maybe somebody needs... Oh, and there you can see the trajectory map there on the left-hand side of the screen. Excellent stuff. Musical Wolves, thank you again for the support. They say, will SpaceX launch Bacon with a Starlink? I doubt it, but haha, Bacon. Brandon Meyer, thank you for gifting 5 Red Team memberships. And Moldy Space, thank you for gifting 5 Red Team memberships. You're too sweet. Seriously, thank you both for doing that, because now 10 people have memberships that otherwise might not have. Our membership program rules, and it's super important to helping us do what we do, so absolutely thank you for that. If you got a membership from either of those folks, definitely be sure to thank him in chat. About 30 minutes to go, and 2 more super chats, and we'll get into some viewer questions. Connor G, thank you for the support. They say, did you know that tonight's launch will be SpaceX's 48th consecutive launch with less than 10 days since the previous one? That's wild. I didn't know that, but I bet you Alex did.
I was going to say, it's somewhere on a spreadsheet for sure.
And, of course, last up here is FCF T-Hawk. Thank you for the super chat. They say, nobody mentioned the rocket engine with a diminutive nozzle. Don't do it.
Ooh, diminutive. Huh.
Did somebody say stubby nozzle?
Stubby nozzle bad. We established this definitively on the previous stream. Stubby nozzle bad. I don't care if any sort of polls indicated otherwise. I don't recall that happening. I refuse to confirm or deny that happening. But yes, stubby nozzle bad. And if you have no idea what we're talking about, the second stage engine, the Merlin vac, on some Falcon 9 second stages has been altered to be stubby for reasons. I don't know that we really need to get into that tonight, but we can get into the fact that it's bad because it looks cursed.
I mean, the poll from the last stream would disagree, so...
I'm sorry, I can neither confirm or deny.
Well, I can confirm. How about that?
Okay. How about I interject and just say that we don't like the aesthetics. They're not as pleasing, and it's an opinion. So everybody's entitled to their opinion. There's no right or wrong, Jack.
No, I thought we established multiple times over on hours of streams that my opinion is the only right one.
Hang on,
I thought we established that it was the incorrect opinion.
Oh God, there's a poll.
Here's the thing, I was not on the last stream, so I could only vote in the poll. Now I get to voice my opinion. And Jack,
oh boy,
yep, Go ahead.
Same team as you, bad Stubby. I mean,
All right.
the Stubby nozzle
All
is great
right.
in
So,
terms
hey,
of it's great in
guys.
terms of getting more flights out, yes, but in terms of aesthetics, I'm gonna
Hey,
pass.
children. Children. Hi.
Hi,
What
Julia.
else is really cool about this mission? What else makes it special? I bet
Well-
somebody on this stream knows that answer.
Go for it.
Mhm.
Go for it.
Go for it, Sawyer. What's special about this mission? What is this the last of?
This is the farewell to Starlink V1.5s. This will be the final, technically version 1 in general launch as well for the entire Starlink constellation. This mission will have 54 of the final Starlink V1.5 satellites going into a 299 by 339 kilometer orbit. This will be the 58th Starlink 1.5 satellite launch since the first 2-1 mission back in 2021. Everything after that will be the upgraded Starlink V2 minis. Fun fact, the Starlink V1.5s, by the way, were the first to introduce the satellite-to-satellite laser links. Wow, I blew everyone away with my facts that they went silent.
Jack talking while muted.
All right, I'll keep going. So yeah, I know I've seen some questions in there already of, like, here's one from Akar Baines asking, what better things do the V2 satellites do that V1.5 satellites can't? So these satellites in particular, the V2s, excuse me, besides the fact that even though they're called mini, they're still larger, there's a lot of major technical upgrades that will increase the speed at which they communicate. A lot of little details, but in the end will mean hopefully for faster service for people at the receiving end of it. And as more and more of these go, they will also be going into different shells, as we call them. So basically different heights and different orbits that will allow for more coverage. Right now, all of them pretty much operate below the altitude of the International Space Station. Future launches, hopefully once we start seeing the 7 launches, will allow for broader coverage. That's the words.
And you know what
Excellent.
else is cool about that broader coverage?
What, Julia?
It means that mariners will have better reception at sea. And you know what else that means? That means those awesome pictures that we see from the drone ship, that nice continual landing picture. Yeah. So that's what I think is cool about these V2s.
It is really nice to have video of the boosters all the way down, nice and stable. That is definitely a treat. But I don't know, Julia. Peter Beck told me that marine assets suck, so I don't know if I like even just marine things at all. Changed my mind.
What?
I'm kidding. You know I'm kidding. I'm a fellow Porty. Can we
I know
call each
you
other
are a
Porties?
fellow Porty. Yeah, we're Porties.
Didn't know it had a name, the Porties.
Yeah, I did not know either.
Why does it sound like a 60s rock group?
Take a picture of rockets, Porty. That's my best Rick impression. Anyways,
Oh, Rick and Porty.
I
That was
think
clever.
that's a new merch idea. A 60s rock style Porties t-shirt. What do you think, chat?
if only I had to burp right now, I could get away with a burp on stream while doing a Rick impression. Anyways, I
would
digress.
totally buy that shirt, by the way.
24 minutes and 50 seconds to launch of Starlink 515 from Slick 40 at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. Thank you, Jonathan Doe, for the super chat. For the dough. You gave us dough. Jonathan Doe gave us dough. All right. I'm making you proud, Sawyer. Musical Wolves also thank you for the support. They say, when lunar or Mars Starlinks? I think those are kind of an obvious given at any point when we get to that point. But we're not there yet.
No, I think we need to get to Starlink V2 full first.
V8 macro.
Could have
Full
had a
thrust.
V8.
All right, let's do some viewer questions while we wait for the clock to tick down. There will be a large event in about 4 minutes, and we will point that out and talk about what that is. Do not stress. But first question here. John Aldrich is asking, what's the status of Starbase? Any update on the LOX leak? No. I don't even know that it's actually a LOX leak. I was down there earlier tonight, and there was a massive cloud of vapor. It appeared to have been an unintentional massive cloud of vapor, but yeah, I don't think we really know anything concrete beyond that. Does anyone want to add any?
I will say that's not the best vent. The best vent is coming up in 3 minutes.
All right, well, we are keeping our eyes open for that as Falcon 9 continues to get loaded up with propellants. Florida Man is asking, great name, excellent name. But although when I say Florida Man is asking, I genuinely am compelled to just say the craziest thing that comes to my mind, which I will not do right now. They're asking thoughts on the upcoming Falcon Heavy launch with the double drone ship landing. How do y'all think it'll go? Julia, you go first since you're our fellow porty on the stream. How do you think this dual drone ship landing is going to go? And if you feel so compelled, give us a little backstory in case viewers do not know what we're talking about.
Okay. A backstory? I didn't honestly know there was a backstory, but I know that we were having an interesting conversation earlier today, and well, we're pretty positive that there is zero chance that 2 boosters would land on a drone ship, y'all. So don't think that's going to happen. As far as landing on 2 drone ships, I have pretty high confidence that that is doable because these boosters are professionals at landing on drone ships. In fact, it's actually said out on base that SpaceX likes drone ship landings more than LZ-1 because they don't do LZ-1 as often. These boosters know the drone ships better. But if you look at scheduling, are 2 drone ships going to be available for a dual drone ship landing if a Starlink launch happens a day, 2 days before this other scheduled launch and landing of Falcon Heavy? So, am I confident that we can land on 2 drone ships? Absolutely. And am I excited to see 2 drone ships come in like back to back, possibly kind of a few minutes of each other, right? Because you need tugs. But that would be super awesome to see. But we're going to have to see how this all shakes out due to scheduling, because you need 2 drone ships to do that.
Got it. By backstory, all I really meant was, in case people don't know that they're supposedly going to try and land both side boosters and Falcon Heavy on ships at the same time. But you did way better, though. Thank you.
And like you mentioned, it's important to note that as of now, Starlink Group 6-6 is scheduled to launch no earlier than July 22nd, and Falcon Heavy is scheduled to launch at 10:34 p.m. Eastern on July 23rd.
Thank you for that, Sawyer.
So that's an interesting thing then, right? Like, is there a performance thing we don't know about that could change Jupiter's flight profile? Or, I don't know.
Unless, of course, I Still Love You makes its way over, but that would take a lot longer than a week.
No, it's not going to make it here in time to do something like that. No. So I guess y'all, we're just going to have to see how scheduling shakes out or how the rockets shake out.
And it's important to note that the Starlink is no earlier than. So that means that could very well change, and I'm guessing the customer payload will come first.
Excellent. All right, well, we are at T-minus
Here comes a big 20-minute event.
And 15 seconds, and sure enough, Max, there we go. That is the T-minus 20-minute event. That is excellent. That's exactly what we want to see at this point in the countdown flow. Who wants to talk about the 20-minute event?
Who doesn't? I mean, it's the best vent. This is the time where after completing loading of RP1, which is a refined form of kerosene, onto the second stage, the lines are purged ahead of stage 2 LOX, or liquid oxygen, or LOXygen loading. Keeping in mind, both are underway on the first stage there. So this, I believe they use nitrogen to purge the lines, and this takes about 4 minutes, and is followed. You could basically tell once it's done that LOX load has begun on that second stage.
Excellent, and I am hearing that stage 2 RP1 load is complete, and now they will begin loading LOX on the second stage, or at least they will here in about 3 minutes. Wow, Musical Wolves says the T-minus 20-minute event is so eventful.
I like it. I like it.
Just wow. I can't even. It hasn't even shown up in the software. Oh, there we go.
That's what you get for having me on stream. Why do I have a feeling I'm going to be kicked off a lot of streams now?
No way. We wouldn't have it any other way, Sawyer.
Yay.
I was thinking, on the drive back from Starbase today, if we did a member video that was like a tier list of people you would want on your crew for a space flight, I would put you as an S tier member, Sawyer, because not only would you keep the morale up, but I feel like you work very hard. You have good work ethic, so I would want you on my crew. I'll put it that way. Don't feel bad about puns, Sawyer. Although I will give you endless crap for it.
Aw, thank you, Jack. That actually means a lot. Wow.
All right, let's do some more questions. Graham Mackey, they say, is there a targeted number of launches for a booster? We're at the record, but what's the max? I don't think we know what the max is at this point. I think there's been some scuttlebutt about SpaceX wanting to try for 20. Again, currently we are at 16 as the max. One booster has flown 16 times, and this booster will be the second to have flown 16 times. Go for it, Sawyer. I'm going to take
Max is
another bite
operating
of
the
my
camera.
Oh my God! Why?
That was before Alex posted one in the back channel. Just
That
saying.
was Alex's bad joke.
Oh no, I had it before Alex.
I thought about saying something, but I'm like, I'm not stooping to this level. No, thank you.
Oh, wow.
This level. Oof.
I'm just
So-
kidding, Sawyer. We love you.
So does
only
anyone
like- Go ahead.
does anyone remember a time when we were talking about these flying 100 times?
Yes.
Oh gosh.
Yeah,
I do.
I mean, I could still see it happening. It's definitely one of those things that SpaceX is going to incrementally have to work towards. And we've seen with these higher flight rate boosters that they take a little bit more time in refurbishing them, presumably because they're checking everything over with a fine-tooth comb. So, I mean, who knows how far we'll get with a booster? It's just a matter of time and, I guess, diligence, if I was to pick a word.
And to add to the bingo cards, keep in mind shuttle was originally, each one was going to be 50 to 100 flights. So,
It's true.
Thank you for
Yeah.
that. Ding, shuttle.
Ding,
but yeah,
yes.
they made it
Check-
to about
check mark.
30. They made it to about 30 each. I could see the same thing happening with the boosters, getting to about 30.
Yeah, that makes sense.
30 sounds like a good number because, yeah,
I wish
30 is good.
I don't know how many King of the Hill fans we have watching right now that are even going to get this, but yep, 30. If you get that joke, DM me on Twitter because we're friends.
I'm excited for the revival, just saying.
Yes, I cannot wait for the revival. Somebody needs to write a spec script involving the family going on vacation in South Padre Island, and Hank hates the rocket because it prevents him from fishing or something, and then he learns that it's powered by methane. I know it's not actually. Then he learns it's powered by propane. I know it's not actually, but, you know, methane, propane. And then Hank loves the rocket. Then he meets Elon Musk or something. I can see that episode in my head.
Methane instead of propane.
That's a fine rocket, I tell you what.
By the way, we should point out that the venting has stopped, which means that stage 2 LOX loading is underway.
Excellent. All right, let's do a question from XBAR. They're asking, because this is the last launch of Starlink version 1.5, and the replacement is with V2 Mini, when was the first flight of V2 Mini? Wasn't it only a couple of months ago? Does anyone remember off the top of their head when the first V2 Mini flight was? I do remember it was fairly recent.
It was February of this year.
February. Excellent.
Yeah, that was the first of the Starlink V2 Minis in the sort of Gen 2 constellation, also the first of the Starlink Group 6- missions.
Thank you for that. I really think, I mean, we make jokes when it's like, oh, it's another Starlink, that sort of thing. But when you step back for a moment, it really is truly astounding how many satellites SpaceX has been able to manufacture. Not even launch, just manufacture. The fact that there are, 4,000 something satellites on orbit that they've been able to make and crank out is insane. It's like no other satellite operator comes close. It's wild.
And you know what, Jack?
Go for
Now
it.
that you say that, I've never even figured out or noticed or put much thought into how those even get to Cape. Like, how do those even get here? I'm assuming that it must be by just an everyday truck because I've never noticed Starlinks arriving here. We put them in fairings here and launch them, but I've never ever put too much thought into how many of them have arrived here that we've never even noticed.
Yeah, that's a really good point. If you think about it, like, for example, at Starbase, at least not lately to my eye, but there used to be a time at Starbase where if you saw a specific type of truck, you were like, oh, there's Raptors on that. I know that truck is what they use for Raptor. but not so with Starlink. That's a very interesting point. Thank you for that. I love that Chad is just talking about King of the Hill now. Methane and
Jack, what
methane
have you done?
accessories.
I mean, that was a really good impression, guys. I am impressed.
Boy, that's a clean burning fuel, I tell you what.
Bobby. Come on, Bobby.
Dang it, Bobby. All right.
So Alex pointing out in the back channel, he thinks this is the 92nd dedicated Starlink launch, by the way. So
Holy cow. So yeah, they're approaching the 100th dedicated Starlink launch, Alex says in our back channel. That is wild. Think about when some rockets have not even launched 100 times in total. Wild.
yep.
All right. 13 minutes to go. Let's keep doing some questions here. But first, Ethereal Swordsman. Interesting name. I have questions, but we'll just move on. Thank you for becoming a Capcom member. We really appreciate all of our members, and at Capcom level and above, you get perhaps the best perk of all, which is access to our Discord. The Discord is excellent. There's all kinds of channels. There's a tech chat channel if you want to argue about Apple versus Mac. There's a random, there's party chat. There's all kinds of stuff. So whether you want a Starship channel to talk about that, or a small sat channel to talk about that, or if you want to just argue about sports ball, we're all kind of hanging out in the Discord, and it's a blast. So definitely thank you so much for becoming a member there, and thank you to all of our members. Don't know, you can sign up through YouTube. It's a monthly level of support. There are various levels, and the various levels have various perks. And seriously, the vagaries of the YouTube algorithm, I know we all deal with the algorithm every day, so forgive me for blathering on about it yet again, but we could work really hard on a series of videos, on many videos, and not necessarily see a return in viewership and numbers that we would want. And it's sort of like cracks in a wall, and the membership program is the grout that fills the cracks in a wall. So, seriously, thank you to all of our members for
Did you just
being
call our members dirt
Grout.
and clay mixed together?
They're grout, yes. They are our beloved grout. Oh, wow, I said Apple versus Mac. I'm a dum-dum. I meant Apple versus Windows. Or Mac versus Windows. Let's go with that. Mac better. Anyways, moving on. One Smoke Away, thank you for the support. And Kyle Trick, thank you for the support. They say bacon. Cool. So I'm glad we established that Mac better than Windows without any argument there. All right, moving right along. Passing Wind is asking, I heard NASA was experimenting with rockets without engines. The idea never really took off. Wow. Who put that in the queue?
I love it. That was great. I swear that wasn't me that put it in, but I love whoever did.
I blame Alex. Yeah, it was Alex.
Yes, I love it.
Oh, there's a poll. Mac versus Windows. Windows
Also,
is winning 80% to... Okay, yeah. Surprise, surprise. The more popular platform is trouncing the less popular platform. I'm utterly shocked.
Yeah, also, that was the only thing passing Wind, not Jack this time burping.
Wow. All right, 10 minutes and 30 seconds-ish to go. Nick Irving is asking, how long does it take for the drone ship to return to port, drop off the booster, and get positioned for the next launch? I'm looking at you, Julia.
Of course, you're looking at me. So, on average, it takes about 3 days to get back to Port Canaveral. They can turn a drone ship around in about 24 hours, which means it takes about 3 more days to get back. So, in between launches, you're looking at 6 days for a single drone ship, which is why we have 2, because, yeah, they kind of sometimes pass like ships in the night.
Hey, I see what you did there. Next question. Rocket Lover is saying, any idea why this is going south? I miss it when it went north because it was such a better view from my area. Thought it was just for the winter. Why is this still happening? Thanks. Who wants to talk about the trajectory tonight?
Because we can.
Welcome.
East Coast, Best Coast, we can do more. Just saying.
So I feel bad because I'm originally from the Northeast, but now live in the Southeast. The main reason is orbital mechanics. It all has to do with where it's going. With the particular shell that they're going into, it involves the southeastern trajectory. Typically nowadays, most of the time, the only time you're going to see a northeastern trajectory is for a launch to the International Space Station. So Crew Dragon or Cargo Dragon, typically. There are some rare exceptions, but with the way that Starlink is currently, I expect most of them, unfortunately, for the people in the Northeast to go southeast. But remember, you still have Wallops. I'm sorry if that wasn't a long enough answer for Jack to finish chewing.
Yeah, no, thank you for that. No, I'm yelling at Chris B in chat because he made another poll and it says, "Will Jack ever win a poll vote?" And the answer, which is fine, he can make that poll. That's fine. But the answers are no, probably not, or it's unlikely. And I would argue that probably not and it's unlikely are essentially the same answer. There's no yes or affirmative answer in here. So I'm just going to say this poll is moot.
You know what's unlikely? That you would find anything bad in our store at shop.nasaspaceflight.com because everything in there is awesome.
Wow, Sawyer, that was superb.
Thank you. Anyway, like we were talking about there, you've got shop.nasaspaceflight.com. We've got everything there from all the Starlink merch to, in particular, this one you've got launch, entry, and landing, which is always my favorite when it comes to showing the exact order in which the engines light. And if you were to lay the Falcon horizontal and take a look at the engines, this is the exact way that they would fire. Although I would recommend don't lay an actual Falcon sideways and try and launch it. But you can get it in t-shirts, you can get it in mugs, and that's all at shop.nasaspaceflight.com.
Good stuff. Let's see here. Wonderful World of Walter's dad, Mark, what a name, is asking, do we know the launch trajectory of Falcon Heavy with double drone ship landing? I'll be floating to the Bahamas on that day and hope to see it.
Ooh.
Do we?
That's,
I don't know if we actually know that trajectory, to be honest.
I will check a source. Let me see.
Checking the source. I don't have like a checking the source audio bump, but I wish I did.
Was that to the tune of Baby Shark? Because if so, you're going to get us copyright claim.
Oh, absolutely not. Who do you think you're talking to here, sir?
I believe it's due east, given its trajectory and Falcon Heavy. I believe it's due east, but waiting for the official sort of ocean closures, for lack of a way to put it, the note Mars.
Got it. All right, well, there you go. Good question from Wonderful World of Walter's dad, Mark. Interesting there. Rocket Lover is asking, any idea? Oh, we already did that one. Whoops. Let's see here. How long do we have to go? About 6 minutes to go.
I should point out that we have passed the mark of engine chill. That is when you start running the super-cooled propellants through the 9 Merlin 1D engines to prepare them ahead of liftoff.
Good deal. Brandon Mayer, thank you for the support. They say, shout out to my workshop cats, Bobby and Luann. Always here for cat treats and cat treat accessories. This calls for celebration. I'm staying up till midnight. Excellent stuff.
I would say that RP1 way to celebrate that is to acknowledge that Stage 1 RP1 load is complete.
I don't even have words right now.
Fun and facts in the same sentence. Only at NSF.
Only out of Sawyer's mouth.
That too.
Kyle Trick, thank you for the support. They say, better question, iPhone versus others. iPhone wins. Duh. Musical Wolf, moving right along. Musical
Pixel
Wolves.
for the win.
Nope. Musical Wolves, thank you for the support. And Brandon Mayer, thank you for the support as well. I mean, why would you want to knock off? Just use the original. That's the best. Moving on. X-Bar is asking, if boosters get to higher numbers of flights, could the soot on the booster affect the aerodynamics or mass? Max, what do you think? Oh, wait, Max has to go.
Yes, I do, unfortunately.
All right, well, go operate the camera, Max. I have bad timing, but we love you. Good luck, Godspeed, and we'll see you on the other side.
Yes, sir.
You
I'll
know
see you
what?
guys on the other side.
Have fun, Max.
Yeah.
No promises.
I can take that answer for him, though.
I'm sorry if I strung back the question here first. I do want to point out that we are coming up now on the strung back retract. That is when the transporter erector, the TE, there's some little clamps around it. Those clamps will open and it will lean back just a couple of degrees, very minimally. So it's a little hard to see, but it will lean back slightly before it's completely thrown back at T0.
Excellent.
I'm just laid back by that pun. Ugh.
Wow.
Oh,
Laid
wow.
back,
So
though.
back to our lovely viewer question. The answer is yes, actually. The more soot means they're could potentially be a slight flight profile change. Very slight, though, and that happened, I do believe, around the 13th flight of a booster. We caught wind that just a slight profile change was needed. So does it affect flight? Yes. Does it affect flight enough that we would notice? No. No.
Huh.
Is it enough to need to clean the booster? No. Definitely not. So,
Not yet, anyways.
Team Soot.
not
Yep.
yet.
Worth noting here, we finally have an answer to the reason for the scrub the previous attempt. Apparently that hold was called due to elevated levels of oxygen in one of the 9 1D engines. So it was checked, that's why they performed the static fire, and they confirmed yesterday all was good to go for today, so we are continuing to count down to T-minus 3 minutes.
Good stuff. Getting closer and closer to launch of this.
And stage 1 LOX load is complete as well.
That? Bideford, thank you for the support there. They say if Jack can win poll, then Sawyer gets 1 additional pun.
Okay, so I'm never getting an additional pun. All
Well,
right.
the poll was unwinnable, so I want to recount. We should do a new poll, but anyways, probably not enough time before launch here.
I see someone's telling me I need to start saving them up. That's no fun.
We need a. I mean, if I made like a pun token bank, I would probably be a pun token millionaire because of the interest at this point. I don't know where I'm going with that. Anyways,
I don't know. It was cool.
we're about. Speaking of cool, Falcon 9 is nice and chilly as it is full of cryogenic propellants right now. See, I can do good segues as well.
Smooth.
And we are at about T-minus 2 minutes, and that means we are about to see the 2-minute vent, which is similar to the 20-minute vent we were talking about earlier, just with stage 2 instead of stage 1.
Vice versa, right?
What?
No?
What? Go for it. Explain.
No, either way, it's a final purge of all the fueling vents ahead of launch so that there's not any... Yeah, both are stage 2.
Okay, thank you.
So that not any extra propellant that might be stuck in the lines accidentally gets burnt and causes a bad day. But either way, the lines are purged both times with nitrogen, and confirmation that stage 2 LOX load is complete with all of this. There you go.
Excellent. That's what we want to see as we get closer and closer to launch, about T-minus 1 minute and 10-ish seconds or so. Really quickly, thank you, Super Steph, for the support. We really appreciate your support, Super Steph. You are awesome. And Kyle Trick, thank you for the support to say oven bacon, best bacon. 100% concur.
And we are now in the terminal count here, so that means that Falcon 9 is in startup. In about 5 seconds or so, we should get the go for launch, hopefully. And then the last thing to look for will be the green flash of the T-Tab to ignite the engines at T-minus 3 seconds. And then, liftoff at T0.
Right, liftoff. That's the thing rockets do, huh?
We are go.
Excellent. T-minus 30 seconds.
Again, we'll keep an eye out for max Qs about T plus 1 minute and 17 or 18 seconds or so. But we should get some really good sound tonight, I'm hoping, based on that weather.
Fingers crossed. Hopefully we don't get another last-second abort, although we are past the point of the previous abort. And here we go. T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And there's ignition. And liftoff of Falcon 9 B-1060, carrying another batch of Starlinks into orbit. In fact, the last launch of V1.5. Oh, we love that sound.
At this point now, we are coming up on max Q, which is the maximum dynamic pressure on the vehicle. So you can kind of see the flames there getting a little bit spread out too, and that little extra plume at the end. That's typical during max Q. All right, so the next thing that we're going to look out for are about 4 events that are in pretty rapid succession together. At 2 minutes and 26 seconds, we will have MECO, or main engine cutoff. That's when the 9 Merlin 1D engines shut down, followed 6 seconds later by the start of the second engine, SES-1, and then 13 seconds after that, we should see deployment of the fairing. And I love this view where you can see the engine plume expanding as the atmosphere gets thinner. That kind of atmospheric pressure squeezes the engine exhaust together. So as the air gets thinner, you get to see more of the spread and more defined of the 9 engines. I love that.
Yeah, that's one of the coolest parts of launch in general, is seeing the exhaust plume expand like that. It's a direct visual indicator that the rocket is climbing into the atmosphere. And it's just a really cool visualization of pressure.
Exactly. Again, coming up on those rapid events here momentarily.
There we go, MECO.
There we go. Yes, we have main engine cutoff. That would be followed by stage separation and ignition of the second stage. And now let's see it from SpaceX's view.
Looking
There's
good.
There we go. And
Speaking of looking
hang on,
good,
there goes we're waiting for that stiffener ring. There it goes.
There it goes.
For those who don't know, that helps keep the engine bell's shape on its way up.
Yeah, and again, this is not the stubby nozzle, which means it's better. And there goes the fairing.
Yes, successful fairing deployment. A reminder, the fairings are reused as well, not just the booster. They come down by parachute, are scooped up, and flown again.
Yeah, they're like $3 million a half, $6 million a pair. At least that's what we heard way back when, so nothing to shake the stick at.
A single stick at, since this is a single stick launch?
Oh my god, Sawyer.
Well, I mean, this is the 239th single stick Falcon 9 flight, so I figured I had to. And you can see the plume expansion continuing in that previous shot. Gorgeous.
Yeah, I mean, that plume expansion, just to hit on it once again, if you've ever wondered why vacuum engine nozzles are so much bigger than sea level nozzles, I mean, that plume expansion is why. You need to be able to get the maximum force from the exhaust that you can, and plume expansion at vacuum means that you need a bigger nozzle to take advantage of it. I mean, in theory, it would be like an infinitely big nozzle, but, you know, get mass consideration, practical reality considerations, so you need a nozzle that's bigger, but bigger and an efficiency trade-off standpoint. Go ahead, Sawyer.
2 things to point out. 1, this is from our Cape Canaveral tracking station. This is at KSC. So this is our tracking camera that you're seeing this from, if I'm looking at this correct. And secondly, the fairing halves, as we mentioned, are being reflown as well. One fairing half has now flown for the 9th time, and the other for a record-tying 10th time. That is the second fairing half to reach 10 flights on the second booster to reach 16 flights. So a lot of history.
Remarkable. That is definitely remarkable. I mean, fairing reuse to me, for whatever reason, still feels very new and kind of wow. And the fact that we're at 10 uses on a fairing, especially given that the fairings just splash into the seawater willy-nilly, is kind of wild.
The craziest, I have to say, is seeing them in person, which I'm sure Julia and Max can attest to as well. To see them get sootier and sootier, especially if you're stuck behind one in traffic, is unreal.
What is it? Why can't I attest to it? I can't attest to it?
Have you been behind one on US-1 or the entrance to Space Force?
No, but I've been within like 20 feet of one at Port of LA.
How many times had that one flown?
I don't know off the top of my head. Sawyer,
Anyway.
I can attest to it, okay?
All right, fine. We're coming up, by the way, 30 seconds away from the first stage entry burn. That is a little more than 20 seconds long. That will help slow the booster down as it gets into the atmosphere ahead of its landing on a shortfall of gravitas. So just worth pointing that out. And again, our launch entry landing shirt tells you that it's going to be 3 engines that typically fire.
Excellent.
And this is still tracking from Max. So we've got Max tracking, we've got the robotic cameras tracking, Unbelievable views on this one. And then, of course,
Excellent.
SpaceX.
Excellent job there on Max's part. And there you can see on the left the first stage coming down to land, and there on the right you can see the second stage doing its thing. Here we go for entry burn on the first stage. Look, that is beautiful.
Love it.
That
And again, it's
is
about 20 seconds.
absolutely beautiful. Falcon 9 shielding itself, literally fighting fire with fire. How extraordinary. It never gets old.
Yeah, it's using that flame to help slow itself down, and this is also why the boosters get sooty, as it is flying through its own exhaust plume, which uses RP1, which is kerosene, and therefore carbon-based. Carbon equals soot on this, so that's why the boosters get super sooty, is moments like that.
Indeed.
All right, the next thing that we'll keep an eye out for will be the first stage landing burn. That should happen about a minute from now, followed by first stage landing shortly after, and then this time second engine cutoff, or SECO 1, when the second stage shuts down, will be after the first stage lands. Sometimes it's before, so after it lands, we'll switch over and keep an eye on the second stage as well.
Good deal. Hopefully we get that nice stable video all the way down like we were talking about.
Yep. And apparently Max from KSC was able to see that entry burn there.
Nice. Good work. Let's
That
see
means
here.
it has to be a super clear night.
Right? Patrick Fargy, thank you for the support. They say, I love hearing you guys launch off those puns. It's a great trajectory for a good webcast. Wow. Mark Lamb, thank you for the support. They say, stubbling nozzle is a valid methane accessory. Go NSF. All right, I can't deny that. And Patrick Fargy, again, thank you so much. They say, I'm here for the puns. They launch my day into an optimal trajectory. All right, you got two.
I love it.
They got 2 batches of puns in there. All right.
All right, let's take a look. We'll keep an eye out for the landing burn here, and then we'll check back in with Max afterwards since he was able to see it for so long. But there is the landing burn on the left. You'll see the grid fins, the things that kind of look like waffles that are moving that help steer it towards that drone ship, A Shortfall of Gravitas.
Sawyer, I'm so hungry. Now all I want is waffles. Thank you.
It makes me hungry every time, too. But anyway,
Look
you can
at
see the
that.
drone ship.
That
There
is
goes
beautiful.
landing leg deploy. Starlink satellite switch, maybe? And touchdown.
Love it. I
That
always
marks
love
the
seeing the deep blue
16th.
color of the ocean as the Falcon 9 comes down and illuminates the water with it in it.
That is the 16th landing of this particular booster, the 40th landing on A Shortfall of Gravitas, and the 133rd consecutive landing since the last failure.
Nice. And yes, this is the second booster to successfully have flown 16 times now. And you can see the second stage cutting off its engine as it enters the coast phase. And, of course, here you can see our very favorite sight on launch day, or at least DOS's. Well, I would say it's all of ours, especially Max's. It's an empty launch pad, folks.
Speaking of Max.
Who's hosting here?
Sorry.
Speaking of Max, how you doing, buddy? How was that?
Now, children. As much as Julia and I love to rag on these humid Florida nights, they really do enhance the sound of a Falcon 9 so much. The VAB was screeching like an absolute banshee tonight. It was beautiful. We could also feel it very, very well in our chest as well. And as you might have seen on the tracking camera, we had visual of stage 2 for a very long time. And I also had a great visual of the entry burn, which I tried to get on camera, but right as I got the camera over it, it shut down. So, but overall, I mean, we love to rag on these humid Florida nights, but there's nothing like them.
Hooray! Well, I'm glad that was a epic launch for you there, Max. Julia, how do we have you? Julia,
I believe
back?
she's working on editing some awesome photos for us right now on that. But
All right. Well,
I do want to give you some credit, Jack. You were the one who came up with the term VAB squeal, I believe, when you and I were at one of the Falcon Heavy launches, USS F-44. So props to you for calling it the VAB squeal, and I love that that is something that happens traditionally either with the landing zones, or in this case, Slick 40, if you're at the KSC press site, that the Merlin 1D engines vibrate at just the right frequency that when they reach the panels on the outside of the VAB, they shake at that exact same frequency, causing what sounds like a squeal.
I don't even know that was me that called it that. I will give
It was.
credit to Chris G or somebody else before I take credit for it. Although
It was you and me. I remember it. That was definitely you and me.
Sonic Squeal, that we definitely coined Sonic Squeal. I don't know about VAB Squeal.
I think they're synonymous. The fact that we use the term squeal, I'll give that to you.
All right, I'll take it. G Forbes, thank you so much for the support. They say fairing a test duel at 20 paces. I don't want to duel my friends. All right, well,
That's a fairing point.
oh my god. Now I do want to duel you. I take it back. Let's duel. All right. Well, thank you everybody so much for watching. I think with that, we will call it a night. As always, thank you so much to Max for rolling out to the field and getting the camera set up and that amazing tracking job. If you're not following Max, follow Max on Twitter. You'll see his info pop up right there on screen there. There you go. Max, thanks for being on. You're welcome, Jack.
Of course. Thank you, Jack. Thank you, everybody. It's a pleasure as always, and I will see you guys next time.
Good deal. And good impression of me doing an impression of you. That was solid. That takes depth. Also on the stream, oh, holy cow, Julia. Good timing with this in the back channel. I don't know. Can we get this on? Julia has an amazing photo. Julia, do we have you, or should I just say good job on the photo and we'll talk to you later?
I'm back.
Yay.
Funny thing is, I need the same connection as my microphone, to do the photo thing. So
Right.
Hi, I'm back, and I'm glad you like it, Max.
I'm Jack.
I'm glad.
Wow.
I'm.
There's the picture, by the way, on the left side of the screen.
I love you, Max. I love you, Jack.
Sure, now you say that. But yes, excellent photo. You can see it on the left-hand side there. Good job, Julia. That is absolutely gorgeous.
Is that along US 1 in Titusville?
That is indeed where I am.
Good
I
deal.
love that spot. It's so photogenic, and you captured this one amazingly. Beautiful, beautiful, Julia.
Y'all, make sure you're following Julia on Twitter. Her info is there on screen at Julia_Bergeron. Thank you again, Julia, for being on stream tonight. We are, as always, delightful.
And thank you to everyone who joined us.
Indeed, and thanks to all of our members. And, of course, Sawyer on stream tonight as well. Sawyer, how are you doing, my S-tier crew member buddy?
Wow, I got to be careful what I say. I don't want to lose the ranking there. But no, this has been a great stream. Thank you guys for putting up with my puns, for a spectacular Starlink, and awesome alliteration.
Good deal. That was awesome alliteration. All right. With that, I think we will wrap it up. Thank you also to Kevin Michael Reed in the background, pushing the buttons, pulling the levers. Kevin, I'm a jerk. I'm sorry I didn't mention you at the top of the stream, but at least I got you now. Thanks for all you do for NSF. Couldn't do what we do without you.
Who's
All
going to
right.
start using the meme from Home Alone?
Right. Wow.
Kevin!
Yeah, no. Uh-huh. Yeah, wow. Okay. All right, I'm cutting us off. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We'll see you next time. Once again, thanks to all of our members, and good night.
And here we go. We have liftoff. Propulsion continues to be nominal.
R68 chamber pressure looks good.
Following up. Roger, Atlantis.
Water towers fly!
Tango down to nominal.
Flight downside SPD off. Say again, SPD off. It's orange!
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Décollage.
Put that in the big bag,
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed.
We rise together, back to the moon and beyond.
This methane will be igniting in the flare, correct?
Yikes. You bet. Sure. We don't need any more of these.